Here we will demonstrate how to change a group head gasket. With regular use, a group head gasket can be worn out or damaged, especially if the portafilter is twisted too tightly or from just dirt. So we will first demonstrate how to safely prepare the machine. So first, we want the machine to be completely cooled down, cool to the touch, especially around the group head. We will remove the power. We will also prepare the machine by removing the water reservoir or tank. We can also make sure that the drip tray is removed, and be careful as it may have liquids inside. Next, we will prepare a rag. Just a dry cloth or something soft but still flat. Okay, so now that we see that nothing is in here, we can also prepare our grinder hopper. So if we want, we can remove it, or we can just carefully lay the machine on its back. So in this case, I'm going to try to lay the machine on the back, on top of the rag, to avoid any scratches or damage. And I will lay it at the edge because of the power cable. Okay, so now that the machine has all the water containers removed so that there's no leaking, it's unplugged and cooled to touch, we will now first identify the gasket. So it is going to be this ring, and in some machines you may need to remove the group head screen first, but in this case we do not. And the only tool you'll need is a flathead screwdriver or something similar. We're trying to remove the whiter part, okay? And when you press it with your screwdriver, you can feel that it's a little bit squishy, okay? So what we're going to do is try to squeeze the tip of the flathead screwdriver between that darker yellow part and the light white part. And we're just going to begin to pry it, pushing down and pull until eventually we can squeeze in between those two parts. And there it is. So it should look like this. And now we can use our fingers to finish removing it. Okay, and over time this may become brittle. It may get cracks in it. It might darken in color. It might lose its flexibility and become stiff. So these are all signs that it may be going bad. Otherwise, if it's just dirty here on the edge, then that could also cause a leak. But if it remains clean and the top of your basket is also clean, and it's still leaking water when brewing coffee, then it may be an issue that this needs to be replaced. And to put on the new one, you first want to make sure that all of this is nice and clean. Wipe it down with a clean cloth, something non-abrasive, lint-free preferably. And then you just push it back in. And in this model, it has a ring that sticks out a bit further, and that goes against the machine. And then this is the brewing surface. So it'll go down into the machine like this, or up if the machine's upright. Now we just carefully place it around the edges. We just want to gently push down a little bit at a time to make sure that it's placed evenly. There's no kinks, there's no lumps. Okay, and we can just give it a little push just to make sure it's seated properly all the way around. And voila, there we have it. Next, what we will do is put in a portafilter and run a small test just to make sure that it sits evenly inside the machine. There's my accessory tray. There we go. And again, keep in mind that it could be a helpful tip to have like a small rag to lay this one so you don't bend it or scratch it too much. There we go. Now that we've tested that the portafilter fits snugly and it has a good amount of friction, we'll actually run a test. But we're not going to use coffee because we don't want to waste that in case the gasket's not fitted properly. So we'll use a portafilter without coffee. And in this case, we're actually going to use a blank portafilter. It's basically a basket that doesn't have any holes in it so that it creates lots of pressure. So we'll install that. Our machine's powered on and heated up. We'll put a cup here just in case it does leak. And we'll press our brew button. And so now we're carefully looking to see if there's any water leaking above the basket. In this case, hopefully no water comes out at all, and the machine will just back flush below the drip tray. Very well, so we don't have any leaks. So now it's ready to use for coffee.